Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode with Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman, and this morning we got a really interesting guest, James Grant from Georgia, with the law firm Georgia. And of course, I'm going to mess it up again. Trial Attorneys, and I know you have a legal thing you got to include your name in it, but I'm going to let you say that. This is anyway. James Grant also goes by Jimmy. Good morning. How are you?
Morning, Jonathan. How are you doing? It's good to be on.
Good. And we were chatting about the your weights in the background, which, if I'm looking for a lawyer, I want someone who's going to be strong and tough. So I think that's a good thing.
I mean, my wife told me, she's like, if you're going to have the office and the gym at home, why just not combine the two? So, I mean, it's great. I can do some calls. I can get a couple sets in. I mean, it works out great.
Exactly. I got my bands behind me. So like in between calls, I'll do some bands and stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, I've had a few calls where I'm lifting some Atlas stones here in the back and people are like, what are you doing? And, I mean, it's a little weird.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So just to kick things off here with the theme, if you've watched any of our episodes, Latte with a Lawyer, what's your morning beverage of choice? I got my coffee here.
So I've got a few. Every morning I try to get up at 5 o'clock so I can get a workout in, or at least during the week. I get up at 5 o'clock, I get my workout in. So I've got my pre-workout shake, I've got my workout shake. And then when I get done and actually get started, then I have just my, my cold brew coffee.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah, you got to get started on the right foot. I can't get up that early anymore, but it's funny. I remember my dad, I don't know why this hour, but he always got up at 4:45 in the morning. That was his time. There must be something to that time, because I know a lot of people say that.
So I do that on Wednesdays. I'm a big networker, so I've got a networking meeting at 7:30. So I get up at 4:45, a little bit earlier, so I can get my workout and make sure I can get there on time.
There you go. That's good stuff. There must be something to that number. I got to do some research on it. Do you sound like a Georgia native? Is that where you're from?
Yes, sir. Yep, born and raised. There's actually not many of us that are here in the Atlanta area that are born and raised in Georgia, but yeah, mom and dad still live here, and I'm here. It's home.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, I live in South Florida now, and as you can tell from my accent, I'm not from South Florida. And it's the same thing. It's all transplants from the Northeast.
Hey, that's okay. We'll still take you.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, tell us about the type of work you do. I know you're a personal injury attorney. What kind of work do you do? What's your practice all about?
Yeah, so we have a little bit different model than just about everybody out there. My business partner and I, Mark, started the firm and we focused on personal injury because it's what we're good at, it's what we enjoy. We're able to help a lot of people and do a lot of good things. But when it comes to the personal injury field, there's really two ways that people look at it. You've got the pre-litigation side of things, and then you've got the litigation side of things.
Yep.
Obviously, from a pre-litigation standpoint, everyone loves those cases. The margins are higher. You're able to do a lot more faster. You're able to grow your firm. I mean, you can do a whole lot in pre-litigation, and a lot of people want to be in there.
Right.
On the flip side, if a case doesn't settle, or if you need to file a lawsuit, or if you need a trial, the model of you running a pre-lit firm versus the model of running a litigation department are entirely different. It's an entirely different setup, entirely different process. Almost should be an entirely separate staff just because things are so different. So Mark and I started and like, you know what, we're going to offer litigation services. We're going to, help other law firms file lawsuits.
Okay.
And there's a lot of other firms out there that do that.
Yeah.
But even further recently, we've taken it to another level because a lot of these other firms that say that, hey, we're going to help you with your litigation. We're going to be a referral partner. We're going to associate onto your case and litigate your case for you. I haven't found anybody else that does what we do now, but all those other firms, they still want to handle the pre-litigation cases. They still want those cases that come in. Our new model that we've been operating this year is we are no longer a B to C law firm. We don't go after clients. I don't want your pre-litigation clients.
Oh,
I
interesting.
only want to be a B2B law firm. I only want to help other law firms make more money in less time and with less stress by litigating their cases. And then the pitch with me is you don't have to worry about me stealing your clients on the pre-litigation side. You don't have to worry about me driving up your cost of acquisition because I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go after your pre-litigation clients. I only want your litigation referrals. And I feel like that gives us a little bit more authoritative stance to say, hey, this is what we're going to stand by, and you don't have to worry about any of that other stuff.
Yeah, now you're a partner, right? You're not competing as much. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. No, I mean, I thought most law firms had a blend of pre-lit and litigation. I mean, most things don't go to trial, as we know, right?
Yeah.
So you spend most of your time on intakes and settling cases. But I did not realize that some just do one or the other. I know people that advertise a lot tend to do more pre-lit than litigation, right?
I almost think that if you have a law firm and you are good at pre-litigation, the hustle, the market, the sell, focus on that and that alone. You're going to make a whole lot more money and serve a lot more people if you just focus on that. Because if you think about it, a personal injury attorney that's working in pre-litigation, they can probably handle 300 to 500 cases very easily because there's a large administrative staff of paralegals and legal assistants that can do a lot of that work. Once you switch to litigation, that attorney's caseload drops significantly. From the people that we work with and network with, most other law firms, their litigation attorneys only handle somewhere from 60 to 100 cases. Our attorneys have capacity for anywhere from 180 to 250. So our attorneys, just through our process, are able to handle a lot more because we have put the process, procedures, examples, templates, workflows, checklists in place to make that easier, where we don't need to worry about the pre-lit side of things.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I mean, I've heard some firms where they split it. I mean, like a lot of businesses, right? They have the pre-lit, and then as soon as it goes to litigation, they hand it off to the other team. So they've bifurcated the business to essentially create what you're doing, but they do it with inside the firm.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's interesting. So you work with a lot of do you just work in the state of Georgia, or you work across the country?
So right now we work in the state of Georgia, but we have referral partners across the Southeast. I work with law firms in Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina. So, I mean, we have a lot of connections and networks, but just because generally the way it works, somebody that's driving from North Carolina to Florida, they're going to get in an accident in Georgia. They're going to go back home and they're going to call a North Carolina attorney.
Right.
That's a way a lot of our business with these other states works, and we're able to help them on their cases as well.
Got it.
But we do have some pretty big plans in the next couple of years to then start going and expanding to other states to bring this as a nationwide offering.
Oh, good. How many attorneys right now in your practice?
So we currently have 6 attorneys in the firm.
Okay. And you've been in business, what? It sounded like 2015, about 7 years?
So 2015, we started the business. And I mean, from a business perspective, we had no clue what we were doing. Absolutely none. Like we were 2 dudes hanging out in Mark's basement. But slowly we started to piece it together. We were, profitable our first year. We started growing, 20 to 30% year after year. But then really we threw some gas on the fire in 2018 when we hired a business coach. That it was the single best thing we could have done for our business and our law firm was get coaching, because law school, they teach you kind of how to think like an attorney. The bar, they kind of are the minimum barriers of entry to practicing law, but no one actually tells you how to run a business.
Yeah, that's right.
Most attorneys are either going to be high level decision makers in their business, or they're going to be running their own business. And I think it's just a real disservice that so many of us have no experience in business and financial controls and how to run a law firm like a business, because that's exactly how it should be run.
Yeah. No, well, I know there's a lot of groups now, and maybe PILMA, and other where that they focus on running a law business. So you're right.
Yep. No, I did a podcast with Ken last month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, PILMA, they do great work. There's tons of other coaches. There's individual coaches. Our coaching organization that we use is How to Manage a Small Law Firm. I mean, there's tons of options that are out there. Doesn't say that one's better than the other, but it's just find one that works and go all in on it. Like that's going to help everybody.
Yeah. Well, the point is you're figuring out how to run it like a business as opposed to just being a bunch of lawyers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you have to think that way, right? Because it's all about process and focus, which I know you guys focus on certain things and trying to come up with repeatable ways of doing things so you're efficient, right? You get more
Absolutely.
throughput. You get more throughput, right?
Yeah, I mean that's why it's taken us, this many years to get to a point where our litigation attorneys can handle the caseload that they can because of the support, because of the automation, because of all the things we put in place. And it's only going to get better. But
Yeah.
if you aren't tracking it with metrics and all that stuff, like you're running a business based on a whim and your gut, and that's you can't do that. I mean, you can, but
Absolutely.
it's not advisable.
You're not going to scale that way.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So what kinds of things do you leverage to become more efficient? What technology?
Technology, period. I feel like, and I talk with a lot of attorneys. I talk with attorneys across the country. A lot of us in the legal field are afraid of technology a lot of times because we don't understand it. Many of us went to law school because we weren't good at math and science, and this was an alternative of doing political science, going into law.
Yep.
That's how a lot of people end up in the legal field. And so then when it comes to running a business, all of a sudden you start talking about accounting and credits and debits and metrics and key performance indicators and all this, and you start having numbers, and it's like, oh no, what do I do? But there's so much technology that's out there that can help to automate things. We're big in Microsoft. We are Microsoft subscribers.
Microsoft shop.
I understand there's two camps. You've got your Mac, you've got your not. But there is so much that Microsoft can offer to a law firm. When you look at SharePoint and putting all of your documents and files on SharePoint, and the ability to automate processes, to use Microsoft Power Automate or Microsoft Dynamics, there's just so much that you don't know.
Yeah.
I went to Georgia Tech. I was a civil engineer coming out of undergrad.
I was a civil engineer. Excellent.
I have no clue about 90% of the stuff that Microsoft actually does until you start taking those free courses that they have. Like, there's so much that it can do.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, just putting in simple workflows of when a document comes in, it gets OCR'd and scanned and recognized, and then Microsoft can pull out, oh, it's got this word, so it's this document, so run this workflow. The ability to automate tasks is huge as opposed to paying someone to do it.
Nice.
So I mean, that's one big thing. Another big thing is once you have your processes and procedures in place, then you can delegate tasks to a lower paid employee. And in the world that we live in, you open up a global pool of candidates.
Yep.
We have a lot of virtual assistants in our law firm. We have people that work for us in the Philippines. We have people that work for us in South America. And it's not that we are trying to, send money out of the US or we are trying to pay the lowest rate possible. But if other countries have economies that are different than the US, where $6 or $7 an hour there is effectively $90,000 a year here, like, why wouldn't you leverage that? People in other countries are just as smart as us. They have equivalent training. It's just they're in a different economic community.
Absolutely.
So, it opens up so much to where then you can leverage so many more people, because generally the more people you have with good processes, with good procedures, the more people and clients that you can serve.
Got it. Excellent. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, that's basic economics.
Yeah.
You're supposed to focus on your core competency and outsource the rest of it. But in terms of like your case prep and preparing for a case so you can win the case and you get higher outcomes, what kind of stuff do you use for that? Do you use focus groups, mock trials? How do you do that kind of stuff?
A lot of it is built in with our templates, and that's something that we're starting to offer for free. And I've got a lot of pushback from my friends, but on our website, we have a free resources tab where we are starting to upload all of our complaints, all of our discovery, all of our template motions. And I'm going through every week and adding new templates to that free database, where if anybody wants to use it, feel free to download, to scavenge or just use it in its entirety, because the more work that you do, especially on the personal injury side of things with the insurance company and the defense, generally the better outcome you're going to have. If the more questions that you ask, the more information you solicit, the more work you make for them. And especially with a lot of these insurance companies paying defense attorneys on a flat fee basis, that cuts into their margin. They're going to want to try to push the case more because they're having to now do more work. So, our general rule of thumb is we're going to 5x the pre-litigation offer, because that's just our general metric.
Yeah, but how do you do that? How do you get there? How do you maximize that?
It's just following the process. Everyone in personal injury generally knows the process, but as long as you file the complaint, you make sure that it's served. When the answer comes back, 90% of the time, the insurance defense attorney has not spoken with the defendant or has had limited interaction. You send off the letter saying, a lot of your affirmative defenses or assertions are baseless. Please withdraw these or I'm going to file a motion. Generally, they can't get in contact with their client. You file the motion. You make them do more work. Sometimes their answer gets struck or other things get enforced. Then you go to the discovery, and then you ask questions in a series. We used to operate under we're going to send you this ridiculously long discovery where, we're going to send you 100 admissions and all the interrogatories and all the requests for production. Now we're operating under a different model where we're going to ask you limited questions up front, limited admissions, and then we're going to follow it up with second admissions, second interrogatories, and then based on those, then third admissions, third interrogatories, third request for productions. So you're building your case as you go, as opposed to just trying to say, hey, give us everything that's out there. The more that you work and build the case as you receive information, I think that's really what helps us get better results, as opposed to just the old mantra of give us everything and we'll just sort through it. You've got to kind of build your case as it comes, as opposed to trying to fit and say, this is what I think the case is, and I'm just going to make it work like everything else.
Okay. So do you go into the courtroom? Do you do jury trials?
Yes.
You do. How often does that happen?
Yeah, not too much.
Yeah.
Since COVID, so I had one of the last jury trials in the state of Georgia. It was, what was it? It was February 14th, right before March when we got things shut.
2020, yeah.
Yeah. Our law firm has had 3 jury trials since.
Okay.
And we have a whole lot of cases. Most of our cases do end up settling along the way, and we have cases that settle either the day of or as we're walking into court.
But you're getting ready to go to trial.
We're still getting ready, but
yeah.
a lot of these cases, they're still on hold. We've got some courts. One of our courts in Georgia, Clayton County, has not had a single jury trial since the shutdown started.
Okay, but it seems like you'd be the kind of guy you would enjoy it. Do you like being in the courtroom?
Yeah. So going back to my background, I was being that civil engineer. I thought I was going to do one of two things. I thought I was going to be a patent lawyer, or I thought I was going to work for like the EPA and use my engineering background. But I got some experience as an intern for the district attorney when I was in law school, and I was like, oh no, this performance thing is way too much fun in court. And so that's where a lot of this has come from. Is it's fun. You get to talk to people. You get to think on your feet. You have to argue. You have to be a salesman. All those things are fun when it comes to the courtroom.
Yeah. Well, so talk about that journey, because it's unusual that, as you know, the stereotype of engineers not being very good verbal skills, right? And stronger with math skills. So talk about that journey, like how you became a lawyer. Like, how did that even happen?
Yeah, it was pretty weird. I was in my 5th year, because generally at Georgia Tech, there are some people that are able to complete the program in 4 years. I was not one of those. The normal engineering path is 5 years. So at the start of my 5th year, I'd kind of looked at some things. I'd taken a couple classes where there was some emphasis on the legal side. There was some construction law. There was some focus on, federal guidelines and federal regulations. And I was like, you know what? Let's at least try this law school thing. So I sat and I took the LSAT. And I was like, we're just going to see what happens. I don't know. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. But, I got a score. I got a school that accepted me. So I was like, well, let's give this a shot and see what happens. So it was really just a, matter of a couple coincidences, I really think, It wasn't that I was gunning for it, but once I got in, I was like, all right, well, then I signed up for the patent bar, and whoever is doing patent law, those individuals are saints, in my opinion. That stuff is crazy.
Yeah.
So I quickly found out that was not my cup of tea.
Well, you sound like more of a business person than like an engineering type, is what I'm gathering.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I had engineering jobs lined up for like when I graduated tech.
But did you enjoy that, sitting there, running, pushing a pencil and figuring stuff out?
I think that I liked it. Obviously, looking back, I enjoyed this side of things.
Yeah.
Today, am I a typical lawyer right now? No, I work more on the business. I don't work in the business. I think right now, out of my firm, I have 10 cases that I'm working on. Our other attorneys are handling significantly more than that. But as the owner of the business, I also get some freedom to pick and choose what I want to work on. So, now we've gotten to the point with our growth where I want to grow this. I want to offer this to a lot of other firms, whether it be just in the state of Georgia for now or other states across the country. And so that gives me the flexibility and ability to do a lot more things where, maybe in a year or two, I may not be doing many jury trials at all. I may be just more in business development. Where that ends, I don't know, but having that flexibility is nice.
Got it. Well, that makes sense. I mean, once you sort of figure out the formula, now it's time to scale, which is what you're focused on. Like, how do we make this thing bigger? I mean, some people don't want to necessarily get bigger. They like having a, sort of more manageable operation, but you have aspirations to grow it.
Well, and I mean, another thing as well is, as a business owner, you have to recognize that you are not the smartest person in the room, nor should you be in everything. I think I'm good at trial. Am I the best trial attorney out there? Absolutely not. So I would much rather bring in people that are better than me that can do that job, because that's where their role is going to fit the company better. And a lot of people, that's what, like you said, that's what they enjoy. So if you enjoy that, and if you're better than me, great. If somebody else is significantly better at marketing and sales, hey, let's bring you on. You can be better than me, and then I can grow other parts of the business. So I only want to be in my role until I can get somebody that can replace me that's better, so that the business can then thrive even further.
Got it. Are you part of these other, I mean, so we've gone to these trial lawyer university events. Are you part of any of those kind of those networking events where all the attorneys get together?
Yeah, so we've got GTLA, which is one of the big organizations. There's a listserv where it's GAPI, Georgia Personal Injury. So there's a couple different networks, but there's always events. There's always doctors hosting lunches and events and get-togethers and things like that. So yeah, I mean, in the attorney world, there's not a lot of networking that is done day to day. It's more, you got to go play golf. You got to go to the bar functions. You got to go to these events, so
there are a lot of events. There are lots of events. Boy. So I was listening to your other podcast. You were talking about accidents in Georgia. It's funny. I mean, I live in the state of Florida. I mean, I feel like I think besides Texas, Florida has the #2 spot for auto accidents. A lot of auto accidents, my God.
Y'all have your pick of the litter when it comes to options there.
Oh man, they like to drive fast and crazy here. The combination of older people, young people that drive crazy, limited access roads makes for a interesting driving experience.
Well, and then too, with the statistics in Florida, so many drivers in Florida are uninsured, which blows my mind.
Oh, is that right?
So much higher than the national average. But I mean, that's also why you have PIP.
Oh boy, you better have a lot of insurance then to cover yourself then, I guess. But no, I'm always afraid to get in the road. I watch the way people, I mean, I'm just amazed at motorcycles going 120 miles an hour, splitting cars on 95.
There was a time and a place where I had two different motorcycles, and they were both crotch rockets, and I may or may not have been
you might have been doing the same thing.
I might not have been the safest, but I have learned my lesson. I have a wife and kids now, so I've got responsibilities.
Yeah. It's the Wild West. Again, I tell you, I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Boston, which is notorious for crazy driving. But South Florida, Wow. I'm afraid my son goes with his buddies down to Miami. I'm like always praying that he gets home.
I mean, it can be crazy out there.
Yeah. So far so good. I think he's. We've discussed it enough times. I think he's okay. They're both going off to college. Actually, this weekend we're taking them, so that'll be a different game. Anyway, so let me ask you this: what do you think makes a lawyer successful? What would be your advice to somebody starting out now?
If I had known what I know now, I would have wanted myself and my business partner to hire a business coach before we even started our business.
Okay.
Before you even create your first business plan, which even most businesses and law firms today don't have a business plan.
No, they don't know what a business plan is. I guarantee it. Yeah,
but having a coach to help you formulate that business plan before you even start anything, it's just going to make things easier, because once you write it down on paper and you say, all right, this is my sales plan, this is my marketing plan, this is my plan for production, these are the people that I want to bring on in the first year or two, and the plan for getting there, these are my financial controls and my metrics, and these are also the things that I'm going to do on my personal development to make sure that I'm in that leadership position where I'm growing in addition to my law firm. If you plan out all those things, it's going to work if you do it right. And if you have advisors there to help you make those decisions, it's so much better than you guessing, is this the right decision? Do I think this will work? Is there any pattern in the past that shows that this will work? Like, just having those advisors and that ability to look at things is integral, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I give you a lot of credit for that. I mean, most, let's say small businesses, they don't like to let go. They don't want other people telling them how to run things. So I give you a lot of credit for like bringing that resource in to help. That's really smart.
There's a lot of personal development that everyone has to go through to get to that point. I mean, when I first started the firm, did I think that I was the best at everything? Absolutely. I think that's normal. But you have to learn that you aren't the best at everything, nor should you be the best at everything. Am I good at sales? Absolutely. I'm good at sales. Is my time best spent spending 30 minutes to an hour on the phone with a prospective client? Probably not. So it's hiring those people to say, hey, you're better than this. Also, you're going to grow the firm better because I'm going to be out doing other things, generating more business and bringing more to the firm.
Got it. That's really good. I can see why you're being successful. I mean, you're thinking about it very strategically, which is really cool to see. And my dad was a doctor. I can tell you, he did not think like a business person. Doctors, lawyers, they hadn't, at least the last generation didn't. So the new generation is thinking much more like a business, which is great to see.
Well, I mean, some of that could be my, innate inner Georgia Tech.
That's true. Georgia Tech, great school. That's funny, that you were a civil engineer. Yeah, no, that I started there too, and it took a very crooked path to do. Now I'm doing a podcast here with you, so it's kind of funny how life turns out.
Hey, I mean, it works, right?
Yeah, exactly. So good. This has been really fun to learn about your business and what you're doing. Final words for anybody, what you want them to know about you, and what's the best way to connect?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I talk with lawyers across the country on a fairly regular basis. So if anybody wants to call me, to email me, to grab one of my free templates online, I have no problem. And our website, it's really easy. It's our toll-free number. It's 833-4-THE-WIN. So 833, the number 4, thewin.com. You can go to our free resources, pick those up. You can email me. You can call me. You can find me on TikTok if you want to and follow me there.
Excellent.
See some ridiculous content, but I'm here for everybody. I'm here for attorneys. I'm here to help, and I'm here to, make sure that rising tide that's going to raise all ships really is something where we can all benefit and not just a few of us.
Good stuff. All right. Well, listen, excellent spending time with you. Again, this is James Grant from Georgia Trial Attorneys in the state of Georgia. And this is sponsored by EmotionTrac with a C. We're a legal tech platform that helps trial attorneys do case prep with our platform that gathers insights based on emotions. And people use it for preparing for trial or mediations. So thanks again. It's really fun to spend time with you.
Thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
You bet.